fix the system. You're supposed to feel safe around police.
Hey there, good afternoon. Is this Tyler Sirois?
The person who answered hung up.
So when you first got this case, what was your reaction to what the allegations are?
It's not surprising. He tells him to take off his shirt, and then he looks at through his boxers at his genitals.
What can I say about this case, man? The same thing that any sane-minded person would say. A 28-year-old predator hunting down a 17-year-old vulnerable kid. Absolutely disgusting, man. What you're going to hear is absolutely disgusting. Times two, because besides from still employed, we don't know, up in the air, Officer Tyler Sirois, you're going to hear about another former NOPD officer who stalks children to sexually assault them. He's now serving 14 years in prison. Trailhand Bill reporting live from South Florida, man. We sitting at the lake today, y'all, Miramar, looking at this beautiful scenery and absolutely upset about how NOPD is running a child, I can't say that word, ring up there, because not only are there officers running around stalking underage children to sexually assault, the command staff is covering for them. Let's take a walk through absolute enraging immorality. The NOPD. Damn it, man.
Take off your shirt, pants, take a look at his private parts.
The family of a teen boy who says an NOPD officer forced him to strip is speaking exclusively to WDSU tonight for the first time. That officer has been arrested, and his case will take center stage at criminal court in just a matter of hours.
Yeah, it is a case that's bringing some questions about how officers are tracked and monitored. WDSU investigative reporter Ari Killian digs into what systems NOPD has to track suspicious patterns.
He was traumatized.
This man, who did not want his face shown, says his brother is the alleged victim of NOPD officer Tyler Sirois. He is speaking on his brother's behalf.
He make him strip, take off your shirt, pants, take a look at his private parts.
He had to look at your brother's private parts?
Yeah.
Court records we dug into show that allegedly happened after the 17-year-old boy was involved in a car accident in March. Records state Officer Sirois wrote the report. Days later, while leaving school, records show the victim began getting phone calls from a private number. Sirois is accused of being on the line saying, "I need to come see you and check you out."
Upset. I was angry. Yes. Yeah, because you're an adult. You're not going to do that to a child.
Court records show the officer showed up to the boy's home days after the wreck. Officer Sirois then allegedly instructed the teen to take his clothes off, then to go inside so he could check the rest of his body. The victim, according to the records, said no. Sirois is accused of again telling the victim to go inside in a, quote, elevated tone, so the boy complied out of fear. The victim stated the officer was wearing a body camera and said not to worry. The victim said, "I felt forced, uncomfortable, and didn't know what was going to happen if I didn't do what he said."
Everybody was in shock, everybody was concerned about it. The whole family.
Court records state days after the encounter, the victim and his family noticed the officer parked nearby. NOPD found through location data that Officer Sirois was in fact at and inside the victim's home at the date of the incident, and there were no requests for him to be there. Days later, the officer was arrested on simple battery, accusing him of pulling the waistband of the victim's shorts to peer inside. He was also booked on malfeasance in office, unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling, and false imprisonment with a weapon. We called the number listed for the officer in court records.
Hey there, good afternoon. Is this Tyler Sirois?
The person who answered hung up.
So when you first got this case, what was your reaction to what the allegations are?
It's not surprising.
Glenn McGovern is the attorney for the alleged victim.
He tells him to take off his shirt, and then he looks at through his boxers at his genitals. If they can track him some kind of way, they need to be doing that.
And it turns out According to federal court records, Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick was asked about NOPD tracking suspicious patterns by police officers in January, months before this incident. WDSU Investigates uncovered this deposition. It centers around former NOPD officer Rodney Vickner.
You didn't know that it was against the law to have sex with or sexual relations with a child?
No, I knew that.
In 2022, he pleaded guilty to violating a girl's civil rights, admitting that he locked her in his truck and touched her under her clothing. Court records state that Kirkpatrick also agreed that NOPD should be looking for suspicious patterns in its officer GPS data and directing its supervisors to look for patterns of suspicious officer behavior in trip sheets, and that it would be a problem if NOPD had no such systems. The attorney filing the suit claims it does not. We requested an interview with NOPD. They declined. They tell us as of January, they've added a training for supervisors to identify patterns and practices that could indicate problematic behavior. They say in addition to supervisors' review of officer body cameras, daily activity sheets, and monitoring officers' activity during a shift, the NOPD utilizes an early warning system that draws data from several different places to determine if an officer is an outlier among their peers. Supervisors are obligated to address any suspicious patterns that are identified. We also asked if NOPD has GPS systems in place to flag suspicious patterns. NOPD says vehicles are equipped with GPS systems, from which data is reviewed by supervisors. If a suspicious pattern is found, it would be reported. NOPD also requires reporting when an officer is responding outside of their assigned sector, which could be a sign of suspicious behavior. I also asked why the system did not immediately flag the March incident involving Sirois. NOPD says there's an ongoing internal investigation. They are unable to provide further information.
I hope NOPD wakes up to the fact that it needs to have close scrutiny over its officers to make sure that they don't take advantage of children in our community.
Attorney William Most is representing Vickner's victim.
Officers drive around in cars with GPS locators, and a suspicious pattern like Vickner's, where he returned to the scene, to the home of a rape victim over and over and over and over again, that's extremely suspicious. Chief Kirkpatrick agreed we need a system to monitor that.
And the family of Officer Sirois' alleged victim wants to know what is being done to bring change.
To fix the system, you're supposed to feel safe around police.
Aubrey Killian, WDSU Investigates.
And we also asked NOPD if Officer Sirois is being paid. They say that he remains reassigned pending the outcome of an internal investigation. They add that he has been placed under close supervision and his policing powers have been suspended.
Yeah, and also we did reach out to the attorney for Sirois multiple times, but we have not heard back.
Welcome to America, man. I mean, okay, so the NOPDs, if you didn't hear, they have this officer, Rodney Vickner. This is going to have to be a two-part series because I have to profile this guy separately so y'all can see the atrocity here. But he, I think last year, pled guilty and received 14 years in prison. They tried to give him 7, but the judge, in some sense of nobility, refused because he said that was not enough time after this guy did what he did to this young girl up there. I don't know why a police officer is going to anybody's home and taking their child to get, like, I don't care if you're a female. I know some people be like, yeah, but don't let a man do it, but let a woman do it. No, nigga. I don't know you, period. Why in the hell would I? And that's what I'm saying. I think some Americans just put too much faith, blind faith and trust into these government agents. Because why would you let any adult pick up your child? And you don't know these people. Them wearing a uniform means nothing. And you let them take, your child has already been traumatized. Think about it. This girl that Vickner assaulted and now was in prison for, which I don't know if 14 years is enough, but that's another conversation. He was there to pick the child up for an already traumatizing event that she had experienced, right? We're going to profile that. That is so critical here because now we jump to this case. And NOPD's answer to its self-oversight, right? Its personal oversight is we don't have a tracking system. So once our officers report to work and leave, we don't know where the hell they at. Now, I can speak to that because I recently had an incident with a Miami-Dade officer And when I was trying to track him, because he wouldn't give me his name and badge number, he just jumped in his car, he fled and eluded like they often do. I did have, obviously, a video and pictures of his patrol cruiser, right? So when I, long story short, called to try to find out, I learned that there is a central office that handles, I think they said they have maybe 1,500, 1,400 vehicles. Don't quote me on that number now, in this area, Miami-Dade area now. And they have a central office that tracks all of those vehicles, because different departments are, given different vehicles. Like this department has, vehicle sector A. This department over here has vehicle sector D, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So I just have a little bit of knowledge of that. But the irony is that they're saying, this attorney is accusing that the NOPD has none. And then when they asked them about it, they didn't want to respond. And they used well, there's an investigation going on. But other than that, don't worry, because they did institute new training and supervisor management and all of this, because now all the officers need to do is report to the supervisor, report to the supervisor, report to the supervisor. We're back to this self-oversight thing. And when we profile this Vignair thing, you're going to hear about this civilian oversight committee that was helping to police the NOPD, that the NOPD intentionally pushed out. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but it's just like always with the American government agents and their systems. They don't want anybody knowing what they have going on, whether it's just coming in filming courthouses that you guys film and put on the internet for the world to see. When we come in as the taxpaying citizens who fund these buildings, we can't do it, and you want to tell us, hey man, you can only do this and you can only do that, dictating to us against our rights as American citizens, right? So it's always, hey man, we run this, we tell y'all what to do. No, Negro, y'all don't. It's to the point where y'all literally are in the NOPD sexually assaulting underage children, and it's a recurring pattern down there. And y'all answer is, don't worry about it. We don't need these civilian oversight committees that y'all gave us to police us. We got it, but while we got it, our systems are continually failing, and our children are continually being sexually assaulted by those who are supposed to protect and serve. All of these Negroes are guilty until proven innocent to me. And this chief they talk about that always saying they're doing the right thing, we're going to talk about him. That next video, when I profile Rodney Vignair or whatever his name is, we're going to get a little deeper. I just want to go ahead and dive into this one. And I told you guys, I'm sitting at the lake today. It's very beautiful. The rain is coming down. Maybe you can hear the drops, maybe you cannot. But if you can, that's what it is, man. Today, maybe 2 hours ago, an officer was shot in Washington, right? And I say 2 hours because that's when I'm scrolling my feed and I see the news broadcasted to the world. Now, I don't know, because I didn't listen in, the particulars about the situation. I do pray that the officer's okay. I never wish that type of ill upon anybody. But the irony for me is this here, man. Anytime anything happens in their sector, anytime tragedy visits them, they want us to act like, as a world, as like, that they always get in interviews and say our communities are suffering, our this. They want it to be a literal communal event. They want it to be an American event when something happens to one of these thug-ass blue line gangsters. It's not, bro. We're not in the same community. Because your partners, the ones that you want us to lose our lives about, when they get nicked shaving, when they get nicked shaving their vagina or their face, whatever, be it male or female, you want us to act like the world is coming to the end. They're literally out here murdering our babies. I just profiled Wyatt up there in New Mexico. I'm not going to go down the list, because I guess I'm going to appeal to the most moral parts of our hearts. Everybody can seem to unite at the cross if we shouldn't be out here victimizing children. But your co-parts, your counterparts, your cohorts, nationwide, are literally out here murdering and sexually assaulting children. And you guys can't tell us anything about it. The only damn thing you can do is suspend them and their police powers, but you can't even disassociate yourself from them, even after there's enough probable cause to get a warrant to arrest them and lock them up and make them post $24,000 bond after they... Okay, we ain't gonna get into all of that. You can't even disassociate yourselves from them and say, ain't no way in hell we want anything to do with them, because that doesn't represent us. You can't even do that. But anytime y'all get nicked, the world is supposed to stop spinning. Man, y'all done lost y'all damn mind. I listened to this man's brother detail what this rogue terrorist, domestic terrorist cop did to his underage brother. All I could think about and all I was filled with was rage, man. And like I said, y'all expect that family to sit there and take it calmly, but the world is supposed to stop. I will reiterate until time stops spinning, man. Because I watch y'all constantly get on TV. The community is suffering. Oh, y'all just bombed a village of innocent men, women, and children in third world countries because you thought something was going on, but you did it for Americans. So be proud of y'all. It's not going like that. And this attorney, his response, we're going to talk about this probably to end the video. His response to hearing that another NOPD officer is accused of stalking and sexually assaulting an underage kid. It's not, oh my God, I'm shocking. Oh my God, I'm outraged. Oh my God, how could this happen? This man said it's not surprising. You could tell that wasn't staged. They walking down the hall having a recorded conversation. They chopped that. That wasn't all of that conversation. I've been in those scenarios. They chop, they take what they want to take. I don't know why they picked that part. Maybe it stuck out to them like it did to me. But I mean, you hear that story, is that going to be your first response? It doesn't matter who you're hearing it about. And I know most of us are awake to who government agents really are these days. But think about your pre-wokeness, like when you didn't really know how rogue American government agents are. And you hear, hey man, this cop just did this. Again. Now, this department has another cop doing this again. You really going to say not surprising? Or you going to be like, damn, really, man, that's crazy. This man said not surprising. Later on, we're going to talk about what implications are hiding behind that sad expression that attorney gave us. This entire incident made me think that maybe this kid, this 17-year-old kid, which, yes, he still is a kid in most states. Well, maybe in all states, but I know that the legal age in some states is like 16. I'm not well versed there. But everyone insisted on referring to him as a kid. And the way that this officer chose him after this supposed car accident, like you picked him for a reason. And one of those things on that checklist had to be, this is the lowest probability of me getting caught. The entire situation, from how you went to the house, you stalked the kid, you called him from a private number, and you said, yo, I need to see you. I don't think in modern America, I'm sorry, I just don't believe this is possible, I know. But the average adult predator is going to stalk the average sound-minded teen like that, but especially 17 years old. The average sound-minded 17-year-old in our day and age, cop lingo, man, he would have told you, get the hell out of my face, and probably told his homeboy, his homegirl, his mama, his sister's brother, somebody. It makes me think that not only did you prey on this kid, you preyed on him for more than just natural and normal vulnerabilities. You've seen someone who may not be able to defend themselves. And like I say, even when the kid said no, you didn't back down. When he got his no, he ramped it up. It just shows how predatory and demonic he is in his intentions. And I think the NOPD, this being your second officer that we're hearing about now, I haven't done a deep dive. I probably will for the next video. I think instead of covering for this officer, because they asked you guys, hey, is he still employed? You didn't answer that question. You said he was reassigned and his police powers were suspended. Do we need to remind you guys of what this guy, I mean, the evidence, yes, he deserves his day in court. This is America, but the evidence is pretty much already giving us what we need to know, sir. He went into this boy's home. He stalked him. You guys in your own internal investigation found out that he was located at that residence at the time of the incident. And then he came back days later sitting outside of people's residence or in their neighborhood stalking them. This is a cop. I can't imagine how terrified, the family or the kid may have been. Now, there are many of us who wouldn't have gave a damn. We would have handled it a different way, but others don't handle things the way others do. So that's what I'm saying. You preyed not only on this kid, but his family, and that was a reason, sir. You thought you don't even deserve to be called sir in this moment to me. You thought you could get away with that, and I'm very curious about what that was. And if it's because the kid had some more unnatural vulnerabilities, that just makes you even more disgusting than you already are. They specifically mentioned you had a body cam. I'm wondering, is that because you specifically mentioned to that child that you had a body cam because you were trying to manipulate the situation and make it look more official? And after you groomed him through phone conversations from a private number and got the okay to come to the house, and then you bullied him inside, you tell him, hey, I got a body cam on, so it just makes it seem like it's more on the up and up, sir. You are a whole manipulative, violent predator, boy. Either your body cam was never activated and you just used that to manipulate that kid, or you did have your body cam activated to actually sell the story fully, and then you went back and deleted that footage. Which brings me to another point. Why is it that the government has so much forensic technology to find any and everything we may delete when they want to look at it, but they lose body cam footage down the dark hole that can never be retrieved every single time? They can find your mama lost scrolls that she wrote on her oven pans in the rocks from 1800 BC. They can find it and show you HD pictures of it. But ask them to show you body cam footage, incriminating body cam footage that walked into the station 5 minutes ago. I guarantee you they cannot retrieve it to save their mama life. Which goes back to the main problem that you have in OPD and American policing and American government. It's not just your officers, it's your institution. Because when your peers are guilty of crimes that any other American would be absolutely ostracized for, you cover for them, just like the NOPD is doing here. You don't cut ties with this guy. You don't say, I don't want anything to do with him, because none of these actions that he's clearly guilty of represent us, our agency, or anything that we stand for. You reassign him and suspend his police power. The lady asks you a very simple and clear question. Is he still employed with your agency? You get these BS answers about reassigning and suspending police powers. What the hell does that even mean? You should be investigating to see if he has more victims, because this is what this points to and is reminiscent of. You should be also investigating to see if more of your officers do. But you just reassign and suspend. Like your cops stalking the community for kids to sexually assault isn't a sadly reoccurring thing. The latest updates I could find in this case, Predator Sirois was released on a $24,000 bail with an anchor monitor. What was surprising, shocking, and I don't know how I feel about this case was the 17-year-old victim was also fitted with what they're calling a victim protection fob. Now, some of you or many of you may have heard of this before. This is literally my first time hearing of it. And it's a tracking device, guys, from what I've seen. It is able to alert. I guess the victim has to agree to carry it, obviously, because they've committed no crime, so it can't be forced upon them, I don't imagine, in any American way. But it's able to, I guess they're also setting the distance in which they want to be notified. And if I remember correctly, it goes anywhere from thousands of feet to tens of miles. So that is the range that it can be set. And what happens is the suspect, the accused here, has to, that's part of his tracking too, or her tracking. So they have a piece of it, and then the victim has a piece. And if they get within the set perimeter of the victim, then it supposedly notifies not only the victim, but also whatever law enforcement agency it's attached to. So that the victim has a proper opportunity to escape. Now, when I first heard about what it was today and I did my research, I'm like, well, I mean, if it only notifies them that their possible attacker is close enough to attack them, what's the point? But when I seen that it has that range, then okay, yeah, that does make sense. I do think the government fear-mongers us into more captivity, tells us, hey, these things, if you just help us keep track of everything you're doing, we can keep you safe from the bad guys, when in actuality, as we see in this case, and in many cases, the government is also the bad guys. So now I'm going back to the NOPD. If you have fitted this victim with this tracking device that monitors every damn where he's going, and your officer also isn't clearly, fired, you just suspended his police powers. What the hell does that mean? And I'm knowing he got buddies on the force because y'all protecting him. And that ain't even like his real close buddies. It's just like, nah, that's the thin blue gang thug line buddies. So I'm just saying all of that. It just culminates in me thinking, damn, is he also able to access this victim's 24-hour location? I mean, that begs the question. Police aren't responsible at all. They're irresponsible and dangerous and murderous. But at their best, they're irresponsible. So have you guys in these instances, because the information I'm giving you is just from one company. I'm pretty sure there are multiple companies that do this, sell this opportunity, this product. And I'm pretty sure it could serve its purposes. But in instances like this, when it's an officer, and it's not like a civilian against a civilian, so the guy needs protection, because his wife or girlfriend kept beating him up. Okay, she isn't necessarily going to have the access or form of access that this officer did, or maybe still does. But when the complaint is against an officer and you won't disassociate yourself from that officer at all, and you won't disassociate yourself or your agency or his access to it at all, then hell yeah, I'm gonna ask the question, did you not just give this predator-ass violent offender 24-hour access to exactly where his victim is at? I don't know. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. Would you wear this if an officer was, the suspect, the offender against you? Would you let the agency that he worked for give you a device that's going to track you 24 hours, 7 days a week? It's just not something that I'm absolutely comfortable with, but maybe I'm just out the window with it. Finally, guys. This is the biggest thing to me. What are the implications of this local defense attorney saying he's not surprised at all that another NOPD officer has been accused of sexually assaulting a child, a minor? What is he saying to us? What is he trying to communicate, or very clearly communicating to us there? Out of the many possible options, every single one of them sound horrifying to me. This type of stuff, in my opinion, should come as a shock no matter who's doing it, right? And no matter who's accused of doing it. Now, there's a huge difference in being accused of something. I know this generation has forgotten that, depending on who's doing the accusing and who's being accused, but there still remains a difference between those people and those who have actually been proven to be guilty. And in America, we're supposed to operate on those who have been proven to be guilty. So that's what I do. But once again, no matter who finds themselves in these situations, I think it should be shocking. But for this attorney, it's not shocking. A local attorney, local cops, once again accused of sexually assaulting kids, and he's not surprised at all. I would be terrified to be a parent anywhere near this department, anyone who's leadership in it, and any of these cops. Praying for y'all, and definitely for your kids, New Orleans. I hope New Orleans citizens are on top of this, because this is horrible, and y'all have some sanctioned predators in your community, and they are preying on your children.
And we also asked NOPD if Officer Sirois is being paid. They say that he remains reassigned pending the outcome of an internal investigation. They add that he has been placed under close supervision and his policing powers have been suspended.
And also, we did reach out to the attorney for Sirois multiple times, but we have not heard back.
Hiding like a cow. Thank you if you made it this far. If you liked the video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. If you care to go a little further than that, maybe even subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out a few of the other videos on the channel. Either way, y'all be safe.
So when you first got this case, what was your reaction to what the allegations are?
It's not surprising.
Glenn McGovern is the attorney for the alleged victim.
He tells him to take off his shirt, and then he looks at through his boxers at his genitals.
To fix the system, you're supposed to feel safe around police.